It's time for a Humans in Tune conversation with Darren on 93.9 Mike FM.
Yes, indeed it is. Another Humans in Tune. The winds are just right to bring in a special guest into the 93.9 Mike FM studios. We have got some fun. Oh, boy, that my phone's even turned up. How about that? I'm following myself. There's nothing egotistical about that, right, Nick? Who's Nick? Well, I'll tell you who Nick is. It's Nick Murphy, Spoon Pictures, writer, director of the movie Nite Skate, which is making its grand premiere here in your hometown of Jackson, Missouri, tomorrow night at the Bandshell. It's going to be awesome. Before we dig in, Nick, welcome to the studio, my man. Oh, wait, let me turn your mics on. There we go.
Excellent. Take two, everybody.
It's a real show. That's right. Yeah, welcome to the studio.
Anything can happen. Thank you. Thank you very much, Darren. Thank you for having me, man. It's awesome to be here.
Yeah, I'm glad you're in town. We're excited about the premiere of the movie. It's been a long time coming for it to, be shown here in Jackson, for everybody to come check it out. I've been fortunate enough to get that exclusive digital look, and watch the movie. And it's a lot of fun. For me personally, growing up in Jackson, even though I wasn't a rink rat and hanging out with you guys down there, the Jackson Skate Center was as part of all of our childhoods back then, We loved going to the roller rink. And for you guys, it was really a special place. And this movie kind of captures the entire essence of that coming of age, that time in your life, that special home base, if you could think of it like that, for you guys and your friends. And despite what was going on at school or at home, that was kind of your safe space, right?
Absolutely. I think a lot about, it's been said before about a third place that there isn't much of now these days. But back in the 90s when the movie is set, there was a third place. And that's like something that isn't your home or work or school. It is a different place that you can go and be a part of of almost like a community of people.
Yeah.
And it's what you said, the rink was a home base. Yeah, if parents wanted to go out for the night, they dropped their kids off at the rink,
Right.
But a lot of it for us was just is exactly what you said, was a second home, and lifelong friendships or rink rats were made there. And what I found in making the movie is that the rink rat moniker isn't limited to just the 90s. I mean,
for sure.
Everyone around town had a story about that rink. Every time, like when we were in pre-production, Bob Schooley and I were walking around different businesses trying to get them to sign up for the fundraiser that you ended up hosting for the Jackson Chamber of Commerce a couple of years back. And we'd run into people and we'd tell them about the movie and they'd be like, oh man, I had my first skate. I remember skating backwards there, or I had my first kiss there, or I had this experience. I met my best friend there,
Right.
And it was just like everybody had a story no matter what. Like they remembered. There was the 70s rink rats and the 80s rink rats and the 90s. And so I was like, okay, when I make this movie, when we make it, we got to make it for everybody who ever skated those floors.
Right.
And
it needs to be relatable for more than just your group.
Right. It has to, like, a good story will break out of that. You never want it to be too inside baseball,
Yeah.
And so I think from early reactions that we were able to do that, because I've had some people who've seen the movie who have said, oh, I didn't hang out at a rink, kind of like you did, but to them it's like a hangout movie. It's like they're hanging out with their friends. Like they find a character in the film that they
for sure
latch on to, and they're hanging out with them. And they're like, well, I didn't hang out there, but I hung out at the bowling alley.
Yeah. Or me and my band geek buddies, we all spent time at this spot. That kind of vibe. Yeah. And I like what you said there about they see a character, they find a character in the movie that's relatable, they attach themselves to. And I think, again, like you said, not too much inside baseball. I think that's some of the appeal of how you've written the characters into the movie. And, writing these characters into the movie, it wasn't like these are all fictional characters. These were your friends, these are your pals, these are people that I know, like legitimate people. And so to see how you grab those personalities and how the actors were able to embody those, I think it's great.
Oh, it's amazing. And it's all. And I wanted to give a shout out to Lucas Biney, who said, "Sweet, what up, dudes?" And then Terry Lloyd. Hello, everyone.
Yeah, welcome to the show, guys. Appreciate you tuning in. Feel free, sharing is caring, of course. Be sure to hit the like and subscribe button. We don't have those, but listen to the
what up,
station
it's your boy Nicky M and Darren B.
That's right. Yeah. DJ Nick at Night. Hey, speaking of that, though, coming up at noon, tune in live on 93.9 Mike FM on the FM dial or online at 939mikefm.com. For the Totally 90s lunch, because today we're doing an all-night skate soundtrack lunch hour, if you want to think of it like that. So we're going to be playing songs that are in the movie, fantastic 90s jams, talking a little bit about their connection to the movie and so forth. You know, this was a time in life where we were pre-digital, right? So, you know, music making a mixtape, making a mixed CD, if you were cool enough to have a CD burner in the late 90s. But, you know, making that mixtape, creating that mindset, it was such a huge thing. And I know that was a big deal for you at the roller rink, you know,
Absolutely.
the music.
Absolutely it was. I mean, I worked my way up to DJ. Started off as a skate guard.
That's right.
You know, and putting away those smelly skates.
Yep.
But worked my way up to DJ, and thought it was the coolest job in the world for a teenager to have.
Yeah.
And
for adults too.
yeah, right. But the magic was, you know, going to the Walmart up in Jackson and looking through their CD maxi singles and cassettes, looking for the singles every other week, looking for a new single. What's dropping? That was sort of like our iTunes, was scrolling through all right, got that, need that,
right.
You know, and it would usually have a B-side. And then also I took, well, I'll probably get a phone call right now from Columbia House. I took so much advantage of their 18 CDs
12
for a penny.
CDs
Yeah,
for a penny.
Yeah.
Dude, I had a terrible credit rating at 12 years old because of BMG and Columbia House, man.
I owed so much money to Columbia House.
We're sorry, sir. You can't get a job here at McDonald's. You got a 200 credit rating thanks to BMG and Columbia House.
Yeah.
Boy, we did. Stocked up on those.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
But that was the way, or someone would bring a CD by the rink and come up to the booth. Like I remember when the Foo Fighters' first album dropped, this rink rat came up to me and goes, "Can you play this? This is Dave Grohl from Nirvana's new band." And I'm like, "All right,
sure.
I'll play this song." Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
You know, it was like that. It was literally like that. And then I took pride in hi Faith, how are you? I took pride in not playing the same song during the 4-hour set. Like I'd always play a different song. I would never play the same song or the same artist. I would always try to play a different artist every time. You know, and I remember like skating up to the DJ booth and like queuing up the next song and then skating back out and thinking, oh, the song's about to be over, and I'd like leave the conversation and skate back up to the booth. Yeah.
It's awesome. Yeah, and you know, again, music was such an important role, and it plays an important role in the movie, and we'll talk about that some on the FM side today, but you know, to that end, I'm sure as you picked these songs, there were certain ones that just absolutely were triggers for that time.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. There were staples in it I knew had to be in there. Going back to what you said earlier, a lot of the characters in the film are based on real rink rats who went there. And they're like fictional versions of them played by young actors. A lot of the young actors are from this area, from Southeast Missouri. And so one of the actors who ended up winning the role of Paul in the film, the real Paul who worked at the rink with me, his jam was Montel Jordan's "This Is How We Do It." And I was like, okay, no matter what happens in this movie, when he at some point, he has to listen to that. It has to be a part of like his theme of the character of Paul.
Because that's his walk-on music,
that's
right?
His
that's
intro. Like, that's his thing, yeah. And so it was like those kind of core staples. Like the soundtrack took like forever to curate. Like, but we could talk a little bit more, but yeah, like going back to what you were saying earlier, like it's sort of like the music becomes another character in the film with the characters, and in that end, so does the rink. Like trying to recreate the Jackson Skate Center when it didn't exist anymore.
Yeah, there's the trick.
Right.
Like call in the what's it, the lights and magic crew, just we need a digital roller rink and just make this work for us.
I remember when we were doing pre-production on the film, I was looking at every roller rink I could all over America. I Googled for 2 months on Facebook. And I remember because we were originally going to film this in LA. We were going to film the movie in LA and double it. It's called doubling. It's where you take a location and you're like, okay, this is close enough to where it's set. We'll shoot here.
It out.
This isn't Los Angeles. Through movie magic, it is now Missouri. But it, like all in the pre-pro, it wasn't like the locations were being rather difficult. It was hard to find. Like I could find the interior of a rink, but then it was too new looking.
Sure.
I needed that old wooden floor is what I ultimately wanted. And the
you
older
needed a
skates,
time capsule.
I needed a time capsule.
Yeah.
And so I found that at the Puxico skating rink in Puxico, Missouri. And I saw it on their Facebook page, and I was just showing it to PJ and everyone on the crew, and I was just like, man, this rink, this is the rink. it feels like the Jackson Skate Center. It feels like it when you're in there, even though it's not laid out like that at all. Mm-hmm. It has got that history, and it did. It had been there. It had been what the Jackson Skate Center was, except it got to go on,
right?
And it still exists, and that's why it had that feeling. And so, finding that, and then Jackie Riggins at the time, she owned the rink, and once we got them on board, it was like that's the heartbeat of the film, and it really became that way. But trying to go film there every day out in Puxco was like an 1.5-hour commute.
Yeah, it's a haul. And if you've ever been involved in making a movie, filming, even commercials can be very, very full days. Mm-hmm. And, you know, how many days did you spend down there at the rink? I mean, gosh.
About 2 weeks almost, about 10 days or so. We had to shoot everything that took place at the rink because we knew we would not be able to go back.
That's your chunk of time and that's it.
Right. And so we were there a lot. We had locked down the rink and reserved it for about 2 weeks. And even being there, like the days were really long because it was a community film. Like a lot of people think movies around here, they now have a reference for Gone Girl, which was a big Hollywood movie. And they had a lot of money behind that. So they're able to, David Fincher is like, oh, sure, I can recreate the Jackson Skate Center for you.
Poof.
I'm David Fincher. Yeah.
Ta-da.
Ta-da. And so, it was long days because it was a community film and everybody worked for free on it. The cast, the crew, everybody. Everybody believed in the movie and they wanted to, be a part of it and contribute to it. And everyone just worked super long hours. Mm-hmm. I remember there was one day back to back where PJ and I worked 2 20-hour days back to back.
That's rough.
Yeah.
You wonder why directors did cocaine back in the 70s, you know? But it's some very long days, and it's awesome because it's all come full circle. And for those of you just tuning in or those of you popping in, the premiere is tomorrow. It's at the Jackson Park in the Jackson Band Show, the Nick Least Memorial Band Show. And
it's released.
The event starts around 7:30. We will be there, and the movie will start showing right at dusk, so like 8:15, 8:30 is somewhere in that window. So come out, and then after the movie, we invite you to stick around. There's going to be a Q&A with cast and crew right there as well. You can get the lowdown, ask some questions, hang out, get your chest autographed, whatever you're into. Nick will bring a Sharpie.
Sure.
But all that's going on tomorrow, and for more details, I encourage you guys to go check out, you can check out the trailer, you can check out a lot of the footage, because it has been a journey, and I think it's cool to see some of the videos, like the fundraising video that goes back. There's footage from, Nick's been a camera monkey like his entire life, and so the original video footage, now I'm not going to spoil anything about the movie because stick around for the credits, but the footage from then and all that's all on the website. It's allnightskatethemovie.com. I'm going to type it in here. And you can tell them what's on the website, Nick. Tell them what's on the website,
Tell
Nick.
them what they've won, Darren.
Tell them what they've won.
Well, you've just won free RSVP tickets to allnightskatethemovie.com. Like I went .com.
.com. That's right.
So on the website, you can RSVP for tickets right there on your phone or your personal computer or Mac. And go to allnightskatethemovie.com. You can RSVP as many people as you want.
Link in the comments.
It is free $99, which is a great price.
It's like a free Ticket Friday.
Yeah.
We're handing it out. We've lost our minds.
Yeah, so come on down for free and bring your chair and
it's
some water.
family friendly,
Mostly, it is
like toddlery, but
I say angsty. If you have angsty teenagers at home, that's the language in this film. I'd say about PG-13 for some language.
Yeah.
So if you're coming there expecting the Disney version of a skating rink, you're not going to get it.
There are no birds or cartoons involved in this, but yeah, I'm going to bring my daughter's son. They're of age and able to hear it, especially living in my house with me. So, but the movie itself, at its core, is it's all about that time in the life when you're graduating high school, or maybe you're starting high school, but you're coming up, you're learning your friends, you're learning a lot of things, your eyes are open to a lot of things, you're having new experiences, and all that cycles through in this, and it's you touch on a lot of issues within the movie besides just what people may list as their top 5 teen angst moments in life. I mean, there's a lot of home life issues that are tapped into. Mm-hmm. Family's a big part of this. for sure.
Well, that's the thing is like, it's like I was saying earlier when you dropped off at the rink. Well, a lot of people, like, the rink was also a refuge, and a lot of people come from single parent homes or they're latchkey kids or something like that. And so I really wanted to touch on some of that. Like, this is why they're angsty. They're sort of isolated on their own when they're
not just superficial teenagers that are irritating the hell out of you. Here's why.
Yeah.
There's real life here.
But the cool thing is like I think the mistake a lot of people make when they're making like the coming of age stories, like the real ones, the authentic ones, land because they feel very authentic to the people, and it's when you don't talk down or have anyone talk down to anybody in the film, they're treated like human beings. They're just, but because I think all of us can remember what it was like to kind of, high school's over, now what? Where are we going from here? Yeah. What are we all doing?
What is my purpose?
Right. And then what I think about interesting about the movie is when you watch it is like a lot of the times there's this quote where someone says, at one point you went outside with your friends and you didn't know it was the last time.
Uh-huh.
And in the movie, the characters have a very unique perspective because they know that this is the last all-night skate of the summer. They know a lot of them are graduating and moving on, and they're just counting down this event, this one night in their lives. So I like that is sort of the.
I mean, I get a little goosebumpy about it because it's that culmination of everything to that point. This is our, it's like at the end of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., this is our last mission together kind of moment. And it is for your, if you want to think of it as your island of misfit toys, this is the last chance we're going to hang out. And you're going on to greatness. You're going on to greatness. Who knows?
Right.
This is, as I've said a couple of times, it's been a long time coming. When did you start filming on this project?
So we started pre-production. I had written a short script. It was originally going to be a short film before it became a feature.
Okay.
And I had written a short script of it in 2017, and I'm like, or 2016, and I'm like, I think this is it. I think this is my next movie because I didn't know if I even wanted to make movies at that point.
Right.
Like I was sort of burnt out on it, and I was like, I need something. And so I read through and I found this early draft of it. I'm like, there's something here, And at that point, I felt like I had been far enough removed from the original Jackson Skate Center and stuff where I can kind of be a bit more objective on the story.
Sure.
And so I started writing it more and adding to it, and then like I said, we were going to film in LA, but that fell apart. And then I called up one of our producers who's local here. She's made a lot of movies here, and she's a rink rat herself, her AJ Kaler. And then I said, AJ, can we make the movie in Missouri? She's like, absolutely, you can. And so we all pivoted focus and started doing pre-pro over here.
Yeah.
And I remember I came here in the summer of, I believe, 2017. It was June. And within 2.5 weeks of pre-production, we had found every single location that we needed, including the rink. And we'd made so many gains in 2 weeks as opposed to almost a year of prep in LA. Like Missouri just opened the floodgates and was like, here you go, please make the movie.
The
Here's
magic
what it felt
of Missouri.
Like. Yeah, it was great.
It.
It was amazing. And so we just started prep in 2017, and then a year and a half later, we were in front of the camera in June of 2018, or end of May, June 2018. We shot that summer as much as we could, but realized we didn't have the full movie because like I said, a lot of casting crew was inexperienced, and we could only move so quickly as far as getting coverage.
Sure.
And so I went through like a year of tight editing and showing it to a bunch of people and getting feedback, and I was like, okay, I'm going to do some additional shooting next summer. And we did. We were able to pull together for about 5 more days of filming, and then 2.5 days of filming in LA with some of the LA cast, because 3 of the actors are from there.
Right.
And then I felt like I had the whole puzzle, and I put the movie together and whittled it down, and it's been like that ever since.
And then, hey, let's start promoting this thing, and then COVID. So obviously now we're finally able to, bring it to the public and show it to the public and put it in the right spotlight, which is awesome.
I think that's really awesome. Like the community, it takes a village to make a movie, and
Sure.
It took a village here in Missouri to make this movie. Like there are people in Jackson, people here in Cape, The Southeast Missouri Arts Center, Arts Council was big behind our movie. Puxico opening up their rink to us for 2 weeks. People coming in from all over. One of our actors lived in a town near St. Louis. He played Paul in the movie. He just drove down to the open casting call for 3 hours to audition, and he got it.
That's cool.
And it's just it's super cool to see all this local talent just get involved in the community. Just stepped in front of the parents who took their kids there every day who commuted an hour and a half there and then had to drive an hour back.
That's what they have to remember. This is not all the actors in this. It's not mostly adults. It's mostly kids.
It's mostly teenagers.
And not all of them are able to drive. You're absolutely right.
Right. And so it was just everyone pushing themselves. Our production designer, Cherie, pushed herself to the limit where she lost her voice at one point. Gretchen Griggs, our other producer, her son Cody Griggs is in the film, but she was on set so much. It's like she lived there. I remember at one point we shot till 2 or 3 in the morning, and she had to go home and drive the hour and a half back to come back that next morning and shoot again. It was really nuts.
But it's cool that everybody was that heartfeltly, that fully invested attitude on it.
Exactly.
I mean, just to go, let's get it done. This will succeed. We will make a great movie, and let's make it happen.
Right. Well, even when you hosted the fundraiser, that place was packed, and I thought we wouldn't get anybody because it was graduation weekend. And then we had another fundraiser down at Bob Schooley's the Roundabout there a few weeks later that Bob threw together, and the whole town showed up. So here's a miraculous Missouri story. This is the community.
Is this the Paul Harvey moment?
This is the Paul Harvey moment. The best part was we had been fundraising for a year and couldn't quite get the full budget we wanted. And we were a couple thousand short. And we were only 3 days away from filming.
Right.
And so Bob helped put this, fundraiser together with me. And we had a party where Lucas Biney DJ'd it, 90s music all night, and the German cook came out, and Bob got a hookup for free kegs and beer, and $10 got you in. You got brought some beer and 90s music. The whole town. I didn't know if anyone was going to come. Yeah. Everyone came. And every bit of money went there, got us that rink location. We were able to get the money to be next day, be here you go, and put the money down for it. And that was Missouri. That was I didn't even know if we were going to be able to make the movie. And we barely made it in time. And that was everyone coming together and being we believe in you. And we believe in this movie. I'm going to try not to get
Heather says that fundraiser was a blast.
It was great.
Yeah, I mean, that's a winning trifecta. You got beer, you got the German cook, and you got Lucas on the ones and twos. They're dropping it, Hey. That is awesome. And so it was like a series of miracles that kind of helped make it all happen. And it's cool to see everything's come to this culmination. It's produced, it's ready, it's going to rock. And again, tomorrow night at the Jackson Band Shell, get there by 7:30, hang out, bring your lawn chairs, bring your blanket, throw your cooler in, hang out at the band shell, and then stick around. The movie will start around at dusk, around 8:15 or so.
Yep, and there will be food trucks there.
Yeah, you got Andy Sweet Tooth coming and Smoke Shack Barbecue's coming.
Yep, Sweet Tooth and Andy Sweet Tooth and Smoke Shack Barbecue. So we'll have barbecue and ice cream.
Love that Shack Pack, man. I would suggest, here's my personal endorsement as a large man who loves barbecue. Get that the Shack Mac. It's pulled pork, and they put homemade mac and cheese on top of it.
Sold.
And chef's kiss. It's fantastic.
Yeah. Hey, Darren, I wanted to pivot a little bit. I want to talk about how you were going to be in the movie originally. Do you remember this? Yeah.
Well, then I kind of gave it a second thought. I was I'm really old to play that role. If I didn't, I could do the Brush-in Grecian formula beard color there, but no. But no, you had asked me to do it. And I wasn't able to pull off 1,000 reasons why, right? But you got David in. Which was such a great fit.
It was really great.
He was so fun.
He was great. Well, what made David great doing it, not only was he a rink rat, so he played Brian in the movie. If anyone's ever really been to the rink, everyone remembers Brian, the owner, as just a very imposing, hulking giant of a man.
Like if a biker bar manager ran a roller rink without the leather vest, that was pretty much,
This dude was a beast to us, he was just like this. And so I was all right, cool, we need a Brian, we need someone. And so it ended up being David who took over the role. But what's great about that is not only is he a rink rat, but he's been in all the Spoon movies. He was Sub-Zero in my Mortal Kombat movie. that we made for high
Yep.
school. He played Sub-Zero again in the sequel. He was in like so many of the old Spoon films. And so to have him come back and play that role for this movie was like, it was a treat. It was really great to have him there.
Well, and to touch on that a little bit, you know, and you bring that to light in the movie of those days in high school years when you were making movies with your,
Here,
you know,
in
VHS
town,
camcorder, doing it in town. And, you know, you and Trace and
Adam Kaler,
Yeah.
Lucas, and
Yep.
and David, and you know Pat Siebert, and
Yep.
some of those guys. Yeah.
You know, my son is a gamer, and I love him. He's 12 years old. He's a big old nerd, just like his dad. You know, and you guys, you were nerdy kids. You were into Mortal Kombat. You know, you're into the movies, makings, all that stuff. Like, right? Like, you know, when you think of growing up in the 90s, it was, you know, you had your alpha betas and you had your tri-lambs, and the world was a little more divisive, I feel like, back then. But you guys embraced this, and you went out and you made these things, and you took the time and you edited and you produced. I mean, you really made some cool stuff for what you could do with a VHS camcorder, you know, 100 years ago, it feels like.
Thanks,
but
man.
this has always been a passion for you. This is not just like, I think I decided one day I'm going to make a movie about me and my friends in the roller rink days. Like, this has been a passion of yours about as long as you've been able to hold up a camera, right?
Yes, sir. Actually, this year, right now, today is the 30th. Well, this month, the 30th anniversary of Spoon Pictures. When we started in '93, and I count that. I count the early days. Like, when did you pick up a camera? Great, you're a director now. Go
I
make a movie.
started in radio as a junior in high school, right?
I remember
that's
that.
when I started in radio.
Well, we
you
grew up
know?
together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, being able to see that come full circle. And you had some, you know, successes along the way. It wasn't just like you did goofy movies with a VHS camera and then all of a sudden made a big movie. I mean, you did a really kick-ass tribute movie or whatever. How would you call it? Fan film.
Fan film for Tomb Raider?
Yeah, for Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
That kind of blew up a little bit, yeah?
It did, actually. It's I think it's one of our biggest movies. It was the very first Tomb Raider fan film called Tears of the Dragon. And it is the first Tomb Raider fan film. And it went around the world a little bit at the time. I think the issue, there was some Hollywood interest, but they didn't know what to do with fan films at the time.
Right.
So I guess I was ahead of the curve.
You know, this was what, 2008?
2005, 2006, yeah.
Yeah, so it's really, we're talking MySpace era.
Right.
Not a lot of digital media action happening out here, you know.
Right. But yeah, Tomb Raider was big, but we actually brought that here to the Cape Con, the very first Cape Con that Ken Murphy had.
Nice.
And we showed Tomb Raider to 3 sold out shows. So Tomb Raider is screened here in Missouri. But Missouri, you're absolutely right, is where I got my start. Like my grandma for the Mortal Kombat movie, she sewed the Scorpion and Sub-Zero costumes, you know, and Trace's mom, Trace Webster's mom, made his Raiden costume for him, and, you know, and stuff like that. So like starting here, this was my film school. This whole town, like I had to learn to do everything, and luckily I had a group of misfit weirdos who wanted to take that journey with me. Because you're right, in the 90s, there was no YouTube or anything like that, so it was uncommon to always have a camera. Today we got cameras on our phones. We're always on.
Nick and I are going to make a movie.
Out.
We're making a movie right now. We're totally making a movie. But yeah, that's it. You nailed it. And there were so many incremental little happy pushes, little moments of clarity, little booster shots along the way. Like, instead of a parent saying, I don't have time for that, you don't have time for that, focus on your homework, blah, 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 blah. No. Grandma said, okay, what do we need to do? How do we sew tinfoil? You know, this. And Trace's mom steps up. You know? So those little bits were all, like you said, part of your film school. So, okay, cool. I got a costumer that's making these things. Now I can focus on this. And it just kept building and little nudges along the way. And I'm sure with every nudge, there's a smack across the face where you're like, damn, we didn't get what we needed for this, or we didn't get that. But you've had such a great attitude and kept a step above any of the negativity that's come through. And you know, yeah, you're not a millionaire, but you made an awesome movie, and we are really looking forward to seeing it tomorrow. And
allnightskatethemovie.com, RSVP for free.
That's right. Enter now. You can find the link right there. And Dusty says, can't wait, got my tickets.
Yep.
Yeah. And
Really,
I looked
Dusty.
at we were chatting last night about today and looking at the RSVPs, and like 400 people or so is RSVP'd, and that's awesome. I can't wait to
That's
see
a lot
that
of
hill
people.
full. They've been doing some fun stuff at the band show, man. They've started bringing in these concerts with the tribute bands.
Right on.
Like tomorrow is your premiere. Next Friday is an Eagles tribute band, Heartache Tonight, that's coming in. Free
Very
concert.
cool.
So
Very cool.
People are getting accustomed to more than just Muni Band, and Muni Band's awesome, but now there's a few more things that are happening at the band show. So
yeah, I'm really excited about it. It's going to be a lot of fun. We got a 25-foot by 14-foot inflatable screen, so it's huge.
Nice.
So hopefully there won't be a bad seat in the house. And Lucas Biney, DJ Lucas Biney, he's going to be doing the sound for us.
Yeah.
So he's going to do a great job. He's got a whole setup ready to go for tomorrow.
It's going to be a blast.
And
I'm looking forward to it, man.
Me too. And I'm really, really thankful that you had me here on the show for this double feature and to talk about All Nite Skate. This is the most I've ever talked about All Nite Skate to somebody who's not on a phone. Like,
right? It's weird. We've been in person.
Whoa.
Yeah.
We're like, no, but like, you're talking about COVID. Like, the crazy part about that was doing the post-production for color during that, because we were kind of on lockdown, and like we're also across the country from each other. So PJ the Gaynard, who was the cinematographer, shot a beautiful movie, and so like when you're doing the color, you're taking the image and you're adjusting the color temperature and different things like that to kind of get the look that you want.
Right.
And so me and him and our colorist Jesse were on DaVinci Resolve and on Zoom calls, and we're just looking at our computer screens, going, "All right, this is about as close as it's going to get." But like it was really. There are parts in the film, and this doesn't give anything away, but there are sections, like there's the couple skate, and then there's that a couple other things, but each sort of section had a different lighting feel to it, and you might notice this the second time you watch it, but that was kind of to create like a space for the movie. So the color in the film is a very, very important process. A lot of people don't realize that.
Well, and you're showing an era, right?
Yeah.
So. Especially when it's like clips of you guys doing, basically acting out what you shot in real life on the VHS side, there's a timbre to that that's different than what it is inside the roll rink versus what it is right outside in the parking lot of the rink.
Right. And so like in the movie, the character of Nick is documenting the last all-night skate of the summer of his friends. And so he's filming it all the time. But he's also filming a Mortal Kombat fan film, right? But he's so obsessed with trying to get it perfect that he keeps tweaking it and he keeps editing it, and everyone's like, "Are you still working on that thing?"
Right.
The
perpetual project kind of vibe. Yeah.
Right. And he's like, they're like, "You gotta get out of here. You gotta go somewhere else if you want to make movies." Like, like you can't stick around. And he's like, "No, but I got everything I need right here." He's very reluctant to take that next step.
Yeah.
And so like when he's filming the VHS, when we cut to the VHS, we had it on set a couple different ways. Like, we were going to try to use real VHS, maybe, and then we just ended up going with filming it with our own cameras that we were using on the project, and then in post, in color, saturating that look.
To that, yeah.
And the colorist did such a good job. I forgot what he said he looked at to get it, but like I can't sometimes even tell when they cut to the All Nite Skate VHS footage.
Right.
It feels like I'm looking at VHS, which is what I wanted it to be. Because sometimes if you just throw a filter on it that has the squiggly lines, you can tell it's a filter.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So what you were saying about the tone, like, because it's set in the 90s, I wanted it to have that saturated, colorful, poppy look.
Right.
Like everything, especially when they're at the rink. I wanted it to feel dreamlike. I wanted the movie to feel like a memory. Like you yourself are like stepping back into that rink. And that's what I really hope that Jackson, the people who come tomorrow, feel like the ones that were there, that they're like, "Oh man, this is like I stepped into a time capsule."
Yeah, for sure. It's exciting. I'm excited to see what kind of crowd we get tomorrow. And I know we've got folks popping in that are excited to see it tomorrow. Invite your friends. Go to All Nite Skate, the movie. That's NITE when you spell out night. Or you can find the link in the comments here on the Facebook Live. And if you're listening to this after the fact on our podcast, just go to allnightskatethemovie.com and RSVP. And you can show up tomorrow, hang out with us. Again, event starts around 7:30. We'll have the movie starting around 8:15, 8:30, and then a Q&A with cast and crew afterwards. And it'll be a lot of fun. And Nick Murphy will be there as well, of course. And do you know who of cast and crew may be coming in? Is there ability to list any of that out yet?
Yeah, there's a few. PJ Gaynard, who shot the film, will be there. Christy Moore, who plays Jennifer's mom in the movie, will be there. I think the real life Jennifers will be there. And I believe the actors, the kid who played Gabe, Leighton Lipke, he'll be there. Cody Griggs will be there, who played Adam. The LA cast, unfortunately, can't come.
Yeah, that's a pretty big commitment to buzz out.
Well, it's a big commitment, but also those three are union and currently working in the industry,
yeah,
so
they
they cannot promote.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of the local kids are going to be there. The kid who played Paul, Brendan, who drove down for 3 hours for his audition, he's coming in with his mom.
That's awesome.
Now, so there's going to be a lot of cool of the cast and crew there. A lot of cool people. Some of our camera people, like a lot of people there, and our production designer Sheree will be there. Our producers will be there. Gretchen Griggs and AJ Kaler.
That's awesome. It'll be a great crew.
Yeah, it's going to be a really great group of people. They're all going to have great stories, I'm sure, that aren't just me droning on.
No, and that's the fun part about it, right? And people can ask about, it's going to be fresh in your minds and be like, what were you guys thinking when you did blah, 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 blah. You know, you never know what kind of questions might pop up.
And you're going to be our wonderful QA moderator.
That's right.
So,
yeah. I'll make sure you don't ask anything terrible. It's a fun movie. It's a great story. But above all else, man, it's real and it's from the heart. And I just love that about it. So I'm excited. Nick Murphy, ladies and gentlemen, writer and director of All Nite Skate. Go to allnightskatethemovie.com. Catch the link in the comments. Get your tickets. We will see you tomorrow. And I encourage you, hang out because coming up in about 20 minutes for the Totally 90s lunch, DJ Nick at Night and Iceberg are going to dig in on the Totally 90s lunch. We're going to do an all-night skate soundtrack thing today. We're going to talk a little bit on air as well about some of the tie-ins with the music and the movie and all of that. And you'll get to experience it all tomorrow night. Again, allnightskatethemovie.com for details and tickets. Nick, thank you so much for coming in and being my guest, man.
Thank you, sir. It was awesome.
Been a fantastic day. All right, so tune in for that. We will catch you for our next Humans in Tune segment, which is coming up next week. Matter of fact, I'll give you a sneak preview. It's Tuesday. I've got Jeff Rawson coming in at 11 a.m. Jeff, the man behind all the magic of the Shipyard Music Festival. Jeff is coming in Tuesday. We're going to talk bands. We're going to sample snacks. I don't know. It depends on what I bring into the studio. But we're going to be talking about Shipyard Music Festival and all things involved next Tuesday at 11 o'clock. Until then, for Nick, this is Darren. Peace. I'm out of here.
Thanks for catching this Humans in Tune conversation with 93.9 Mike FM. Find previous interviews on our Facebook page, or you can listen via our podcast at 93.9mikefm.com.